Recording in progress.
All right, so good morning. We're glad you're here. Those of you that are here, and hopefully other people will be joining on Zoom, but if not, we're recording this for posterity. And Kimberly and Vincent and me are here together, and Logan is getting ready to join us, and we're talking about for sale by owners and expireds this morning. Reason being is we're getting near the end of the year, and we really need, as we've been talking about over these last couple of months, we really need to be prospecting. We really need to be out there looking for leads. I really do think that after the first of the year, there are going to be a bunch of people that are going to want to put their house on the market. The good news is that with Howard Hanna, we have a website that's the #1 website in the country for sellers. It's been rated that way and voted, and that's a pretty impressive thing. I actually used it this morning earlier, where I responded to another person's storyline on Instagram or Facebook. I can't remember which, but they're basically saying, "Hey, reach out to me if you. I'm looking for out of area referral agents." And so I just nicely, from another company, so I nicely just put in there, we're getting some amazing referrals from the Howard Hanna website because we're the #1, website for sellers in the country. So I'll be interested to see if I get a response from that particular agent. But when we're talking about, and yesterday, whatever reason I screwed up the link, and a lot of you couldn't get in yesterday. I apologize for that. I guess we'll just have to wait till next Monday for all that wonderful information that I was going to provide yesterday morning. But I do want to just sort of whet your appetite with that in regards to a couple things. We talk all the time about, what is your why? And that whole aspect of, and interestingly enough, the next question is what drives you? Understanding what your why is what drives you to the next place, or drives you to do the things that you need to do, even if it's uncomfortable. And that's one of the things we've been talking about in Dare to Be Great on Mondays, is this whole aspect of getting outside our comfort zone and doing things that are uncomfortable so that we can be put in different places. I shared, Logan and I were just talking yesterday before we signed off, because nobody else was on, just about the fact of going on this new board in an area that is uncomfortable to me. It's not an area that is, where my expertise is. But sitting around a board dinner the other night and understanding that out of 20 people, there was only 2 people that I'd ever met before. There were 18 new prospects, 18 new people that I could build relationships with that hopefully will end up resulting in business for us. Obviously want to make a difference in the community with this board, but also I want to, make a difference for us as a company. So it's going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to have to learn some things. I have to spend time, engaging in a whole different sort of realm that I haven't been in. But I'm excited about it because I think the opportunities of making a difference are there, but also the opportunity of building relationships that ultimately help us with our business. And I was listening this morning to Liza Borges and a gal by the name of Joy Farley talk about what does it take to make the leap. You're something you really want to do. Kimberly, you're just starting out the business. Kayla, you're just starting out in the business. And, what's it going to take to just jump in with both feet and really, create the kind of success for your business that you want to create. And Liza was talking about the book, One Word. And I've talked about that with you guys in the past, written by a guy by the name of Dan Britton and John Gordon, who's a very famous author, and then a fellow by the name of Jimmy Page. And they wrote a book on one word, and it's a book you can read in like 45 minutes. But when you go through that, hey, good morning, Todd. When you go through that book and go through the process, what you're doing is you're sifting it down, you're boiling it down to what one word am I going to focus on this year? What one word is my family going to focus on? And it might be different. For Liza with Carter Automotive, they have a word every year, and it's something I'm thinking about maybe we'll do this year. Stay tuned. But they, for the last 5 years, they've come up with a company word, but then they also ask each person to come up with their own word. And the point about that is that I've been doing it for, I don't even know how long, 10, 15, 20 years. Whenever the book came out, because Dan Britton is a friend of mine, whenever the book came out, I started doing it. And but the point being is they were talking about this one word, and And Liza talking about the first year, their word was unique. The next year it was drive, interesting enough for a automotive deal. Next one was courage. And that's as we entered into COVID, right? And the courage to, okay, what's it going to look like, right? And then she spoke about that at our last awards event in March of 2000 or February of 2019. She came and talked about the word courage and how that word is what was driving them to move lives forward. I've got their slogan all down. And then last year it was synergy. You know, how do we create synergy? And in that synergy, they've ended up not only synergizing their people, but they've actually brought on more dealerships in other marketplaces to create a synergy throughout the state and West Virginia as it relates to automobile sales and service. And then this year she announced that their word is going to be essential. And how do they make themselves essential in everybody's lives? And I love that because I think that's what we've been talking about. And I am going to get to for sale by owners and expireds. I've got a point here. But how do you make yourself essential? And instead, you know, I talk about it being front of mind. Well, that word essential could be defined as front of mind. How do I make myself front of mind with anybody that's thinking about buying or selling real estate? If I am, then I become essential. I become somebody. It's you know, I talk all the time about being the source of the source, right? And if I can have people and the point being is when we talk about why, okay, what is your why is different than why. Okay, what is your why is, okay, what drives me? What motivates me? What causes me to get up in the morning? What causes me to get on that rowing machine in the morning? What causes me not to go back and eat snacks later in the evening? What causes me to, you know, not do this so that I can go to a grandchild's soccer game? You know, take your pick. But in business, you know, the why should be driving you to the what. All right. The why should be driving you to the what. And what that means is not asking myself, well, why should I do that? Or why won't I do it? We change that to the what should I be doing? And one of the things, in my opinion, when you answer the question, what should you be doing, is you should be prospecting every day. Every day that you work, there should be an hour or an hour and a half that you prospect, that you look for new leads, that you add things into your pipeline, right? And there are all sorts of different things, and we'll continue to talk about those things. We talk about the 5 strategies for success, that 5-point star that I talk about as it relates to success. And you can go into Agent Hub, you know, agenthub.searchcharlottesville.com, and scroll down, and you can get to Roadmap for Success. And the Roadmap for Success with the handout, and I'll, Logan, you can find this, but I'll email it to you as well as far as our handout this morning. The Roadmap for Success, pages 29, 30, and 31 are about for sale by owners and expireds. It has things in there about multiple contract presentation. It has things about you know, working with buyers, working with sellers, all the different things, 85 pages of stuff to help you, right? And then Kimberly, I know you've started doing some stuff with the Leading RE Institute syllabus, the 8-week session. Kayla, New Agent Green, is pretty much going through all those as well to supplement what we do here, right? Supplement what we do here, supplement what Howard Hanna does in their university. And then we have Leading RE Institute, and that's, you know, just short little 7-10-minute segments that you can go through. And in 8 weeks, you've got this, if you just follow their timeline, in 8 weeks, you've launched yourself. You've got all sorts of information. Well, the Roadmap for Success is there to help you, is to provide additional data and information. And so when we think about, you know, what is our why and what am I going to do to do that? The thing is prospecting. And this morning, you know, we're talking about for sale by owners and expireds. Why? Because we want to set the table. Let me see if I can share the screen here. Hang on one second. Let's do it a different way. There we go. Go down to 29. There we go. Need Vincent to play a little music right now to. All right, so there we go. Oops. All right, so there we go. You can't see that great, but basically, marketing strategy. This would be obviously for 2022 now, right? Setting the table, listed below a plan, right? What are you trying to accomplish? There's the question. What? Well, we're preparing for 2022 so we can control the market versus the market controlling us. All right. The best way of doing that is getting listings. The best way of doing that is getting listings because you control the market. You have the inventory, which is lacking, right? And if you've got the inventory, people are going to come to you. We want to psychologically establish ourselves in a target market as the expert in a certain price range or a certain geographic location or whatever the case may be. We want to, or a sphere of influence. That I am the realtor. That's the person, I'm the person you need to call. I want to use open houses as the anchor or foundation for having a reason to visit and or call your target market. This weekend, Simone and Dave did an open house on a $1.3 million house. They had 6 different groups through in a couple-hour time frame. There are people out there looking, even though it's the holidays. There are people out there looking. So knowing the kind of property that you want to hold open, whether it's your listing or somebody else's listing. You want to prepare for buyers with properties that have already been listed, or excuse me, prospect for buyers with properties that have already been listed. So reach out to another agent. Can I hold this open? And then spend a week or 10 days before that, letting people know you're holding this open house. You'd love to have them, stop by, whatever the case may be. And so just extraneous tips, you're going to choose a target market area that'll provide move up buyers or first time buyers. And also, is this an area in which you're comfortable economically as well as aesthetically? If this works, it may be an area that you want to geographically farm. We can all say, oh, I'd like to go farm Farmington, right? That'd be great, right? There's some huge people in that marketplace that you're going to have to beat out. So it may not be the place you want to start. Plus, you may not be comfortable with cash buyers or, portfolio lending or, whatever the case may be. Same with farms and estates. I'd love to be listing all these farms and estates. Well, there's all sorts of stuff that goes on other than just the listing of the farms and estates. It's about farm managers and expenses and all those kind, conservation easement rights. I mean, all those different things. And so if you get that opportunity, again, I encourage you to reach out to a farms and estates agent here, somebody who does it on a regular basis. It's like rolling out of bed for them and sharing it with them and saying, hey, I've got this opportunity. Would you do this with me? Right? And then you learn from them. And then maybe slowly but surely that's something that you work up to. But remembering everyone you meet or contact goes on your prospect list. That's what's so nice about Gohanna and the Engage. Hopefully, Kimberly, you'll get your email registration today so that you can, not only sign into the Howard Hanna emails, but also get into Gohanna and begin to create Engage. And that's the contact management system, where you put everybody in there and you add them. Every single person you get, you're adding them in there. Being consistent. Another flyer per month wouldn't hurt a bit, right? And that's another thing in regards to Gohanna. So you can do e-cards, you can do campaigns, you can do target postcards. You got all sorts of different things. As an example, this week, John Green and I are doing a food drive in our neighborhood. We've done it. This is the 3rd or 4th time we've done it. Vincent just redoes the flyer for us. And I went out this morning early on and put flyers in everybody's newspaper boxes in my neighborhood and the neighborhood around us. The point being is it's something we're doing for the community. We love doing it. Blue Ridge Area Food Bank is really grateful. Shelter and Home in Emergency is really grateful. But the people, it's a subtle Howard Hanna Real Estate, Howard Hanna Roy Wheeler Real Estate, John Green, Michael Guthrie, out there trying to connect with the neighbors, doing something good for the neighborhood so that if they are thinking about buying or selling, maybe they reach out to us. So easy to do in Gohanna, to get those things created. Not just Vincent, but there's a bunch of graphic designers as well that are just ready to help you. And I know Simone's used them. I know Sharon Merrick's used them. I think Steve White's used them. They're there to help you create the right kind of graphic that you want, but getting something out on a regular basis. Again, with Gohanna and Engage, you go in, once you get those people in, you can group them, and then you can go find an e-card, and all you got to do is create that e-card and say, I'm sending it this list, and out it goes, and it can go out. You just set the date and time, and it goes out, right? And you can set it up for a whole 12 months. You can go Happy New Year, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July. I don't know what you do for August, Labor Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and you're back to Christmas. And you can do it all at one time, get them all created, and then each month on the same Thursday, out they go. And so you don't do anything, they just happen. And what does that have to do with for sale by owners and expireds? Well, it has everything to do with it, because as you begin to build these relationships with these people, they go into Engage, and you put them into a group for sale by owner, expireds, whatever. And so if you're going to send something out that may cause that person who hasn't yet listed to just be reminded that you're out there, here's a great way to do it. If you gather their email, you've got them, and you can move forward. But the consistency is the key, and hopefully you'll see that as we go through this. The second thing, and I'm not going to spend a great deal of time on this, but it goes along with what we're talking about here, open houses as an anchor for your prospecting. Showing this type of stuff to sell by owners and expireds as to what you're going to do for them in your marketing plans and things like that can make the difference between them picking you versus picking somebody else. We talk all the time about building rapport, gaining credibility, showing you care. Build rapport, gain credibility, show you care. Same thing with expireds, same thing with for sale by owners, and I'll talk about the practical application of that as we walk through this. But this just gives you an idea. You can change this, to January 2022. You can use the same dates, and you can just follow this. And by doing this, by the time you get to the end of March, you will have put yourself in a position of letting people know that you're in the business, that you want to help them, that if they're thinking about selling, that you'd love to help them. If they know a buyer that's moving into the neighborhood or would like to move to the neighborhood, you'd love to help them. And this whole aspect of reevaluating, recommitting, or reloading. So you do this for a 2 or 3 month period and you find that it works, keep going. You do this for a 2 or 3 month period and you had some success, but not a lot. Well, okay, where can you fine tune it? If you do it for 3 months in a particular area and nothing happens, well, maybe it's time to move on to another area. But none of this will be surprising, because you hear me say this all the time. You got to be focused. You got, if I'm going to be doing for sale by owners and expireds, I got to be focused on that. I got to be doing it on a regular basis, right? And that's focused on creating unbelievable success every day, and taking pride in what you do, being personally responsible for your individual daily effort, knowing that your success is up to you. So as that relates to that, we get into the expireds and Fsbo'S, and both of these, in my opinion, are great ways to generate business. Maybe one of them is that let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you, Logan. There you go. Maybe what I would encourage you to do is start trying to do both. Start trying to do both, and what will happen is you'll find out whether one or both of them are things that you are good at, things that you're having success with. It may turn out, like in my situation, that I was incredibly good with expired listings, incredibly successful at expired listings, not so good with for sale by owners. So I created a whole nother for sale by owner sort of thing after I got done selling for agents, in a way that I think makes it easier to go after for sale by owners. When I first started out doing for sale by owners, it was so frustrating because I didn't know if I should go knock on the door on the first day. Do I wait a week? And, so I'd wait a week, and then all of a sudden I'd see a sign in the yard, a real estate sign. So I missed it because I waited a week. I knock on the door. People are saying, what are you talking about? I just put it on the market today. I don't need you, right? Writing a note and hoping they get it, and call me back, whatever. I tried a bunch of different things because I wasn't a real hard sell kind of person. I wasn't like, there used to be a sales trainer by the name of Tom Hopkins, Tom Hopkins, I think is his name. And he literally would go up to for sale by owners with his for sale sign. And he'd put it on the porch and then he'd knock on the door. And he'd have the for sale by owner sign on his left and his sign on the right. And he'd knock on the door, people open the door and say, can I help you? I say, I'm Tom Hopkins. I'm with such and such real estate in Texas. Well, it's nice to meet you. What can I do for you? Well, I just wanted to let you know you got the wrong sign in the yard. What do you mean? Well, you got this for sale by owner sign. That's not going to work. You need my sign in the yard. I mean, he literally would do this, right? Now, is that my style? Todd, is your style? I don't know, but it wasn't mine. The other thing he would do is at open houses in Texas in the summer. He'd have the buyers would come into his open house. It's a true story. The buyers would come in the open house. And I talk about in the open houses that you should have giveaways, things for people to take away, whether cookies, whatever, balloons for the kids, whatever. He literally gave them a half a gallon ice cream in the summer in Texas. And they'd hand it to him, say, hey, I just want you to know, and he had these little stickers that said, Tommy Hopkins, blah, blah. And he handed it to him. I said, what do you want me to do this? I said, I want you to go home. Because if you don't, it's going to melt. And you're not going to get enjoyed. And the reason you can go home is you found the right agent. So just go home, get this in the freezer, enjoy it, and then call me up. And then we'll start talking about going and looking at property. I mean, that is amazing. Pretty good, right? Now, but only certain people could get away with it. And his deal was, he didn't care. He didn't care. He got over the fear of being rejected. Right? A lot of us have that fear of being rejected. He got over that. He said, if I do this X amount of times, he knew that if he did this X amount of times, somebody was going to laugh, say, okay. And they went home, right? Somebody was going to laugh and say, okay, let's put your sign in the yard. We haven't been able to sell it, whatever. That's not my style, right? Maybe your style, that's great. But for me, what I want to talk about today with expireds and then for sale by owners is there's all sorts of business outside of getting the listing for sale by owners and expireds that you can get that can make your time worthwhile. If you just go narrow focused for sale by owner, maybe nothing happens. But if you go for sale by owner and start thinking about where are they moving? Oh, they're moving to Spokane, Washington. Oh, do you have a realtor out there? No, we haven't started yet. Oh, well, I'm part of this network and I can refer you to a really good agent in Spokane. Would that be helpful to you? Right? Even if you never get the for sale by owner, that contact may have made you $900, $1,500, whatever it is, depending on the price range that they buy in Spokane. Business relocation. Well, why are you moving? Oh, well, my company has been transferred. Oh, your company has been transferred. What does that mean? Oh, well, we have a group of folks, as an example, a while back, a whole biotech group from Virginia Tech moved to UVA. All right, a whole group. They hired the one guy and everybody else came. All the researchers and everybody all came. It's like 30 people, right? So I'm going to sell my house. Why are you selling it? Well, we're really relocating to not Blacksburg, that's for sure, but someplace. I'm joking, but someplace, right? Oh, really? Well, how are one? Do you need some help on that end? Well, yeah, I might need to. Great. Can you put me in touch with whoever is coordinating this move, so that I might be able to help you all, not only on that end, but on this end as well. And so that's the second. The third is new home sales. They may be thinking about selling their home because they're buying a new home and it's going to take X amount of time and they need to get their house sold before. Well, then you get them with Jay and talk to them about buy before you sell program with Town Mortgage, where they can work out some arrangement that they can do both. They can be non-contingent on their house out wherever and wait until they sell their house so that they can make one move versus two, right? 4, other referrals. It may be that they do a great job of selling their house and they don't need you, but they were so impressed with the way you did it that if they had somebody else say, hey, I'm thinking about selling my house. Oh, well, you need to call Vincent because he was so helpful to us. We didn't use him. We sold our house on our own. But he was so helpful. If I was going to use a realtor, I would use this. So other referrals. And then the for sale by owner prospect list. A lot of people don't think about that. Well, guess what? With all for sale by owners, people are coming most of the times without an agent. A lot of times without an agent, right? Because they're for sale by owner. So as you build rapport, as you gain credibility, as you show that for sale by owner you care, you get to a place where you say, hey, Kimberly, hopefully you see that I'm really trying to help you. Yes, I do. Well, one of the things you could help me with is if you'll provide me the list of people that have been coming to your house
I'll be happy to call them for you and find out if they're still interested in your house. And if they are, I'll just let you know, hey, these people are still interested. But if they're not, what you can do for me is it allows me to then talk to them about, can I help you find the house that will work for you? I know this house isn't going to work, but can I be an agent that can help you do that? So those are just a few examples of, especially with the for sale by owner, all the information, all the things you can do, the money you can make if you never get the listing. And when that happens, it motivates you to at least try, because maybe you don't think you can get the listing or whatever. If you can think about, there's so many other things hanging from that tree that I can grab a hold of and get something from by moving forward in that relationship, that it makes it worthwhile. Second to getting a listing, what's the most important reason you're calling? And again, the hint is your manager told you to is not the right answer. The reason you're calling is to build a relationship with somebody and get trust developed with that person, so that then you can be in a situation where they start helping you as much as you're helping them. All right, real quick, and as it relates to expireds, I would encourage you to set up a hot sheet. And a hot sheet, Kimberly, Kayla, folks that aren't in yet, is something you can run every morning to see what's happened in the marketplace since yesterday. New listings, price changes, withdrawals, expireds, pendings, solds. You can just watch the market. And there's a lot of reasons you want to get that. One of the things is it gives you a temperature of the market. You can see what's selling and what's not. But it also is a place that every day you can see the properties that expire. The first day of the month used to be my favorite day of the month, because either the 31st or the first day of the month, because almost always people let properties expire at the end of the month. So the 30th or 31st, 6 months before they listed the house, and now it's, December 31st. And so on January 1st, when you get the hot sheet, you'll see a long list of expired listings, right? February 1st, March 1st, you get my point. So you want to run an update every day. You've got to follow up with those people. You got to call them or stop by their house that day, because if you don't, it's too late. And so you run it, you see it expired. The first thing you do is you go on and check to see if it's been relisted. And again, you can do that by looking at the MLS and just putting in the address, and it'll tell you if it's back to active or not. And it may be active with another company, or maybe active back with the other. But if it's not there, then what you're doing is you're just giving them a call or knocking and just saying, hey, it's Todd Morgan at Howard Hanna Roy Wheeler. I'm just calling. I noticed that the listing on your home expired. And I'm just calling to see if you're going to relist it. And if so, are you going to consider other realtors? It's a very simple question. It's a very simple question. It's not offensive. It's very nice. And notice one thing you're going to find is that some people don't know it expired. Not such a great deal for the other agent. What do you mean my listing is expired? And it could cause that person not to relist with that person because they had no clue. But all we're asking is, well, I don't know about that. I'm just telling you that, I looked on the MLS today, and your house is showing as expired. And if you are going to consider other realtors, I would love to have an opportunity to earn the right to market your house to get it sold. Is there a time we can get together? Right? And so you're either calling them, you're knocking on the door. You might even, if you're not uncomfortable with either of those, leave something at their house, a little package. Hey, Todd Morgan with Howard Hanna Roy Wheeler, I noticed your listing expired. If you're going to consider the realtors, would you give me a call? Right? Worst case, they don't call you. Best case is they call you up and say, hey, I got your package. I'd love to talk to you. Right? But it's got to be that same day, or at the latest, the following day. These people obviously have had their house on the market. They're ready to sell, and they do not want to have their house off the market any longer than is absolutely necessary. If they're serious about selling, they want to get back on the market. And it's crazy to me. They made a mistake once. It's crazy to me how many people list with somebody who calls them right away. They just say, well, this person called me, so we're going to go with them, right? They didn't interview other people or whatever. So it's really, really important that you're time sensitive. When you call, you just say you notice the listing expired, want to know if they're going to consider other companies. If their answer is yes, ask if they consider, and then be prepared to answer why they should meet with you. Our company has the best website in the country as it relates to sellers. We're getting referrals off that website all the time from our listings. I've listed and sold, Todd, in your situation, listed and sold several properties in the last, few months, and every single person the surveys have said I did an excellent job and would recommend me to a friend. All I'm asking is for the opportunity to earn the right to market your house to get it sold. Tips for calling: preview. The more that you can preview and know the market, the better. Because if you're going to call on expireds, one, you want to have been through that house. It's crazy how many times when you call an expired and they say to you, you've never shown my house. Why do you think you can sell it now? Right? Well, the reason you didn't show us your house is you didn't have a buyer, right? But if you go and preview, set up a time and go through and preview, they're going to have record that you went through their house. This is a place where if you've got buyers that are on the back burner, as an example, you've got buyers that aren't ready to buy, they've got a rental for 6 months or whatever, but they're going to buy in the price range that you're previewing in, take them with you. Now you're showing the property, right? They're not ready for 6 months, but you're showing them property at a time that you're going to go preview anyway. So you're not wasting your time by showing a property when they're not ready to buy. You're taking them with you to show them properties in the price range that when they are ready, they can be ready to sell. Ready to buy. And what that does is it allows you to say, hey, Vincent, Todd, Morgan, I'd like to show your property. It's such a great. And then you go by with those folks. And when you reach back out, Vincent reached back out and say, yeah, I showed it to somebody, but they're not quite ready to buy yet. Right? Now you've previewed, you've been in that house so that if it's some reason, 3 months from now, 4 months from now, that property expires, those people know that you've been through their house. That objection has been handled. But worst case, just preview it. Just go and see the house so that you know what's there. You want to be as natural when you call and as non-threatening as you can be. Contrary to popular belief, this is a people business. This is a relationship business. You want to be brief. The object is to get an appointment, not to throw up all over them on the telephone. They may start wanting to ask you a question about commission and things like that. And the question is, you know what? I don't know. I really need to take another, if you preview the house, I don't know. I really need to take another look at the house before I can give you those answers. When would be a good time for me to come by? Just as simple as that. I don't know. When would be a good time to come by? Knowing what you're going to say and why you're saying it. So just, practice. And, Kimberly, brand new in the business, that just comes with time. You're practicing it, you're trying it. It didn't work this way, it worked this way, and you begin to fine tune. Vincent has seen me, interview with you, Kimberly, and we're going to an interview after this afternoon in Green. And I know what I'm going to say and why I'm going to say it when I'm talking to people about thinking about joining the company. It should be no different with expireds and for sale by owners. You want to control the situation because it'll save you time and cause you not to waste much time. There may be things in that telephone conversation where the person just is so ridiculous and whatever that you think, you know what, I don't want to do this. I'd much rather make that decision on the phone than now be stuck in their house for an hour, knowing this is not a good situation. Be willing to fail. Greatest hitters only hit successfully 3 out of each 10 times. If you can get, 10 opportunities and get 3 listings, you're going to do really well in this business, because the next thing you know, you're going to get 4 listings and 5 listings and 6 listings out of 10. And the business is really going to take off. Focus on the fact that you're offering a service and hopefully a solution to their problem. That's what we want to do. How do I solve your problem of getting your house sold? Same thing with for sale by owners. Why am I here? I'm here to help you get your house sold. Well, don't you realize I'm trying to sell my house? I get that, but I want to provide you a service, and that service is to provide any information I can give you that can help you get your house sold. Well, why would you do that? Well, because I want to help you. Plus, I would hope that somewhere in the future, if you should decide to consider other realtors, and that's important, is to say it plural, so you're not trying to be demanding. But if you should decide that you're going to consider putting on the market and talking to the realtors, I would like to be one of the realtors you talk to. That's all I'm trying to do, is earn the right. And by earning the right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide you information about closing companies, attorneys, lenders, advertising, how to market the house, all these different things. I'm happy to help you in whatever way I can. And if it means you get your house sold without me being involved, good for you. Good for you. Now you need to know that many situations, there are going to be agents that are going to come and they're going to be asking you to compensate them. And I would encourage you to do that. If you want to get this house sold in a good amount of time and for the right price, and a realtor's got a buyer that wants to buy it, then be willing, to compensate them for that. But understand that in that situation, they're going to be representing just the buyer. And so you're not saying anything other than giving advice. You're not saying, don't you want to be represented? You're saying, understand that they're going to be representing the buyer, and therefore you're not going to have somebody representing you. And so you're going to want to make sure that you get the right attorney or get the right real estate closing company to help you in that situation. Focus on the fact you're offering a service, talked about that. If you think of this prospecting activity in the broadest of perspectives, it makes it so much easier to pick up the phone and knock on the door. It's not about getting rejected. It's not about, oh my gosh, here's another chance where somebody's going to say no to me. It's about, this is kind of like a game. What part of the old let's make a deal game show? What am I going to find out about these people that I didn't know until I picked up the phone? What did I know? How did I know I was going to get an outgoing referral? How did I know that this company was going to be relocated? How did I, whatever the case may be. It's not about getting to know, it's about getting opportunities, finding opportunities where you might be able to help them, where you might be able to service them. Thanks, Logan. For sale by owner, don't give up. Be consistent creativity, polite persistence. Other than being there at the right time, there are the two things that make the difference in being successful with for sale by owners. You're there regularly. When you're there, you make an appointment for the next time. What does that mean? Well, I'd love to come by and I see you're trying to sell your house on your own. Yes, I am. I'd love to come by and take a look at why I'm trying to sell my house on your own. Well, because I really want to know this area and everything that's on the market. And there may be an opportunity that I have a buyer that might be interested in your house. Is there a time I can come by and see your house? That's the first thing. I want to get through the house and I want to do a tour. Just let this for sale by owner walk you through the house and say why it's so great and why they got it priced here, and just walk through. Not anything more than that. Just they ask you questions. Answer the questions, but keep them short and whatever. But at the end, say, I really enjoyed seeing your house. I'm going to keep it in mind. I'm going to let some agents in my company know, by the way, if an agent brings you a buyer, are you willing to pay a commission? And they'll say, most of them say yes. Well, how much? Well, because they've been doing their research and everything, they're going to say, whatever. Most times they're going to say 3%. Go ahead, Logan.
Do you need to have that conversation before you even walk through the house to look at it? As far as
What
compensation with the seller?
No, you don't.
No, you do not. Only if you
No.
bring somebody.
Yeah, well, what you want to do is after you've gotten through it, you can say to them, I may have a buyer. If I do have a buyer, or if I know an agent that might be interested in a house, are you willing to compensate them and how much, and let them tell you?
Got
Because
it.
that's the first step to getting the listing in the future. Because if they say we're going to pay them 3%, you're not handling objection anymore about paying 6%. You're only handling objection of how to get the other 3.
Got
They've
it.
already said they're going to give it to the buyer. And as you build trust with them and talk to them, and they get ready to put in the market, you're going to want to say, if you're willing to pay 3% to the buyer, you should be willing to pay the same amount to somebody who's going to represent you, market that property for you to get it sold. So if they're saying they're going to compensate a buyer, you all of a sudden go ding, ding, ding. I'm halfway there. I'm halfway there in regards to why it's not about saving money. And then there's all sorts of other things, like there's statistics that show that for sale by owners always sell for less than a realtor could sell it for. Why? Because the person who's buying it knows that it's a for sale by owner. And so if it's 400,000, they're going to reduce it by 3% or 6% or whatever and come in with that price because they know they're not going to pay a commission. And it's statistically proven that that's the case. So there are ways that you can handle that, but that's, Logan, later on when you're talking to them about possibly putting the house on the market, that's when you start having those conversations. Or as Logan said, if you do have a buyer, then you're going to reach out to them and say, hey, I do have a buyer that's interested in the house. Can I get you to sign a one-time showing form that says that you're willing to pay me 3% if I'm able to bring you a contract that's acceptable and that goes to closing? So again, don't give up, be consistently creative. Always think about what's next. So you have that walkthrough and say, hey, when are you going to hold this house open? Well, we're going to do it next Sunday. Would you mind if I stop by? How long are you going to hold it open? Well, I'm going to do it from 1 to 4. Great. Would you mind if I stop by at 4 o'clock and see how it went? No, that'd be great. Well, hopefully you stopped by and nobody came, right? So they're bummed that nobody came. And so then you can say that, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Hey, you mind if early in the week I send you a few tips on the next time you hold an open house, some things you might want to do to market it? No, that'd be great. Okay, great. Why don't you expect between tomorrow and Monday or Monday and Tuesday that I send you some tips on blah, blah, blah. You send them the tips, you reach back out. Was that helpful? Yes, it was. Okay. Any interest? Well, we might have somebody interested. Okay. Well, if you have somebody interested, do they have an agent? No, they don't. Okay. So you're going to need a good attorney. You're going to need a good closing company. Would you mind if I send you some people that we use to recommend? So then you're sending them that, right? Oh, you've got some people interested. Do you know if they're pre-qualified? What does that mean? Well, they need to be pre-qualified to see if they can afford the mortgage that they're going to ask for when they buy your house. Well, no, we haven't thought about that. Oh, well, we got a guy in our office by the name of Jay Dominic from Town Mortgage. He would be happy to pre-qualify anybody that you have. Would you mind if I put him in touch with you? So these are all different things that you're giving them to help them through the process and building the trust with them. Competition is great for the company. It keeps us sharp. However, one of Howard Hanna Roy Wheeler Realty's greatest assets is our commitment to fairness and that we want everybody to succeed. Let's work to keep it that way by treating each other like we want to be treated. What does that mean? Well, if we find out that 2 of us are going after the same for sale by owner, it's kind of silly to be beating our heads up against the wall. So let's team up, do it together in that particular situation and say 2 is better than 1, right? Versus, this or that. Few suggestions. Be patient. Unless the Fsbo is ready, don't immediately try and get them to list. It's kind of what I talked about. Just let them go on their terms. But the key is the way I'm telling you to do it, you can go the very first day and not feel bad about being there because you're not there to try to get them to list. You're trying to get there to build a relationship with them so that if they should list at some point, they come to you, right? Again, we've already talked about go to a Fsbo, offering to be of help. Take them comps, rate sheets, helpful articles. This always will help you establish rapport and build trust. And then personal contacts. The longer you hang in with a for sale by owner, the fewer agents you'll be competing against. Statistically proven again, a lot of people reach out to for sale by owner the first time and they get rejected, they don't call again. There are a few people that call again. And then there are fewer people that do the next time. And then there are even fewer that are stopping by and blah, blah, blah. And the next thing you know, you're one of 2 that have hung in there with them while they've gone through this. And you're going to be one of the 2 that they call back and ask for them to help. So building trust is important. To never say anything you can't back up or make a promise that you can't keep. So the bottom line to what I'm trying to share with you guys this morning is that expireds and for sale by owners are a great way quickly to be in touch with people. Another example with the for sale by owner, we've talked about before about using the open houses to build your business. Let's say they do an open house and nobody comes. They do another open house, have a couple of people come. Now they're kind of fatigued because they've done a couple of open houses. You reach out to them and say, hey, what do you think about me holding the open house for you? What do you mean? Well, I can hold an open house and I can market it that I'm only representing buyers, that I'm holding this house open with the intent that if somebody's interested in buying it, I will represent the buyer with the seller. And that way you guys can go off and go to the movies or go Christmas shopping or do whatever you want. I'll be in the house for a couple, 3 hours. I'll market it in the way that I would market a listing over the week or 10 days before the open. And then I will provide you people that, that I have that come in that are interested and don't want to work with an agent, right? I'll provide you that information. If they don't want to work with me, which is never going to happen, they're always going to want to work with them, but I'll provide you that list. And that gives you time off. And it's an incredible way, one, to help them. But two, now you're showing them how you're going to market their listings. If they do list with you, these are the kind of things I'm going to do for you to market that house to get it sold. And especially if I get more traffic through it on that Sunday, they're going to say, boy, what he's doing is better than what we're doing. Maybe we need to go that direction. So it's just another creative way of going about doing and involving yourself with it. Last thing I'll say, as far as expired listings, the second best answer, other than yes, I am going to relist and yes, I'd like to talk to you, is we're going to take our house off the market for the holidays. We're just tired. Had it in the market for a long time, hasn't sold. We're just going to take a break. Families coming in, but that's the best second answer you can have. Why? Because most agents don't have a system in place to know when to follow up with those people. And so they're on a Post-it note or whatever, and they don't think about them again. Whereas you're going to say, okay, gosh, I get that. So what are you thinking? Are you thinking about putting it back on the market in March? Or what do you think? Well, we're thinking, yeah, probably March 1st. Okay, great. Would you mind if I reach out to you February 1st and talk to you about the possibility of listing your home? No, that would be fine. Great. So February 1st, that's a good day for you. Yeah, what time? They tell you and you call them right at that time. But in the meantime, second week in January, you're dropping them a note. Dear Vincent, hope you had a great holiday. Happy New Year to you. Just want to let you know I'm looking forward to our call on February 1st. So they don't forget that you're going to be calling them on February 1st. So if they start thinking about going sooner than you think, they're going to get something from you that says, hey, hope you had a great happy New Year. Looking forward to our conversation on February 1st. If anything's changed and you want to get together sooner, just let me know. If not, I'll be calling you at 5 o'clock on the 1st of February to set up a time. All the best, Michael. The systems. When you say they're going to wait and they tell you and you do it that way, you're just communicating to them. That's the kind of person I want to work with. So, all right, questions, thoughts? Helpful? All right. Well, have a great day. Rest of the week. Tomorrow morning here at 10, we're going to do some breakfast goodies and decorate the office. Bryant, who usually decorates the office, unfortunately is not in good health. And so he's not going to be able to do his magic. So we're going to have to try to do it for him. Thursday morning is the Car General membership meeting at 9 o'clock. And then Friday, there's a town hall meeting, a Hobie Hannah town hall meeting on the Go Hannah site. And hopefully Kimberly will be signed up by then so she can just go right in without me having to send her a link to get in there. So appreciate you guys being here. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
My pleasure, Logan.